When someone disrespects you, your first instinct is to defend yourself, to explain, to shout, to prove them wrong. But Machiavelli would tell you that's a fatal mistake. Because the moment you react from emotion, you hand them power. Disrespect is not an insult. It's a test, a quiet evaluation of how much control you truly possess. And most people fail that test. They lash out, reveal their weakness, and in that instant, they lose respect forever. So what do you do instead? You respond like the strategist, not the victim. You respond as Machiavelli taught, through control, poise, and cold precision. Today, we reveal the 10 dark lessons that show you exactly how to respond when people try to disrespect you. Not with anger, but with an intelligence so unnerving, it commands silence. Lesson 1: Never defend your worth. The weak defend. The powerful observe. When someone questions your value, your instincts will beg you to explain yourself, to prove that you are not what they say. But Machiavelli wrote in The Prince, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Defending yourself signals neediness, a hunger for validation. And neediness is blood in the water. Instead, remain silent. Let their words echo into emptiness. The silence you hold becomes a mirror, reflecting their own insecurity back at them. Your worth is not proven by argument. It is proven by results. Affirmation: I owe no defense to those beneath my purpose. My silence speaks my power. Lesson 2: Disrespect is a mirror, not a measure. When someone disrespects you, they are not defining you, they are revealing the limits of their own character. Carl Jung once wrote, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." But in Machiavellian terms, disrespect is a projection, a shadow of envy. They see in you something they lack: composure, clarity, control. Their instinct is to tear it down. So instead of reacting with fury, study it. Use it as information. In silence, you learn who fears you. In patience, you learn who needs to feel superior. And in observation, you gain power they don't even realize they've surrendered. Affirmation: I am not what they say. I am what I choose to show. Lesson 3: Use strategic distance. Not every battle is worth fighting. Machiavelli understood that distance is a weapon. When someone disrespects you repeatedly, stop arguing. Withdraw your energy. Withdraw your presence. People who live on attention suffocate when it's taken away. The most elegant revenge is distance, calm, quiet, absolute. Robert Greene echoed this in the 48 Laws of Power. Despise the free lunch. What is offered for nothing is dangerous. It usually involves either a trick or a hidden obligation. Likewise, stop offering your energy freely. Each time you walk away without anger, you teach the world a lesson. Your time cannot be disrespected and still accessed. Affirmation: My absence is my boundary. My silence is my strength. Lesson 4: The cold smile. Disrespect feeds on your reaction, confusion, pain, or rage. But when you respond with a calm, knowing smile, the game collapses. That smile says, I see through you. I'm untouchable. I don't play by your rules. It's not arrogance. It's control. A display of composure that pierces deeper than words. In The Prince, Machiavelli reminds us that appearances rule the world. Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see, but few can feel. Your outer calm becomes your armor. Your subtle confidence becomes their silent defeat. Affirmation: I do not fight for respect. I command it through presence. Lesson 5: Disrespect is a signal to level up. When someone disrespects you, it's not always an attack. Sometimes it's a signpost, a reminder that you've outgrown your environment. The more powerful you become, the more you'll attract resistance. Your growth threatens those still chained to mediocrity. Machiavelli warned, there is nothing more difficult to take in hand than to take the lead in the introduction of a new order of things. In other words, progress invites enemies. Disrespect is not a curse, it's confirmation. You've entered a higher game and small minds can't stand the view. Affirmation: Their disrespect confirms my evolution. I am rising above the noise. Lesson 6. Respond with strategy, not emotion. The emotional man reacts. The strategic man observes, calculates, and acts later, when timing favors him. When they insult you, make no move. Let days pass. Let silence build tension. Then, when the moment arrives, respond indirectly through results, success, or a move that renders their opinion irrelevant. Every reaction drains you. Every delay strengthens you. This is the Machiavellian principle of controlled retaliation. Not driven by rage, but by purpose. Sun Tzu said it best in The Art of War. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. Your restraint is not weakness. It's calculation. It's psychological dominance in its purest form. Affirmation. My silence is not surrender. It is strategy in motion. Lesson 7. The power of indifference. Indifference is the final stage of strength. It's when disrespect doesn't just fail to hurt you, it fails to reach you. Machiavelli taught that control over perception is control over power. And indifference is the ultimate psychological shield. You no longer seek to punish. You simply stop caring. And when you stop caring, they lose their weapon. They wanted your reaction. They wanted proof they mattered. But your indifference starves their ego until it devours itself. Affirmation. What doesn't disturb my peace doesn't deserve my response. In a world where everyone demands validation, your calm detachment becomes terrifying. Because true dominance doesn't scream. It whispers, in the silence after disrespect. Lesson 8. The shadow of respect. Respect and fear are twins. Born from the same root, power. When people disrespect you, they've forgotten what you're capable of. And it is your duty not to shout, not to threaten, but to remind them quietly. Machiavelli wrote, "It is much safer to be feared than loved, when one must choose between the two." This does not mean cruelty. It means consequence. People respect what they cannot control. When they sense that your mood, your energy, and your moves are beyond their reach, they retreat. So the next time someone tries to humiliate you, do not speak. Stand tall. Look once. Then turn away. Let the silence sting. Let your control terrify. Respect returns not to those who demand it, but to those who embody it. Affirmation. I do not chase respect. I make them remember why it was once given. Lesson 9. The law of emotional containment. Emotional containment is Machiavellian mastery. It is the art of holding storms inside a glass, letting no one see what rages beneath. When you show emotion, you reveal the map of your weaknesses. When you contain it, you become unreadable, mysterious, powerful. In politics, Machiavelli observed that kings who showed too much compassion were devoured. But those who balanced coldness with reason ruled long. In psychology, Carl Jung spoke of the shadow, the hidden, darker part of ourselves. To master it, you must acknowledge it, but never let it burst uncontrolled. When disrespected, your anger rises not because of them, but because of your own need to prove you matter. Contain it, feel it, channel it. Every emotion you master becomes a tool. Every impulse you silence becomes ammunition. Affirmation. My emotions obey me. I am the architect of my reaction. Lesson 10. Turn their disrespect into discipline. Here lies the paradox of greatness. What hurts you can also refine you if you use it correctly. Every insult carries a message. Every rejection carries a blueprint. When they mock you, it means you're visible. When they dismiss you, it means you've disrupted their comfort. Take every act of disrespect and transmute it into fuel. Work harder. Train colder. Move in silence. Make their words irrelevant by rising beyond their reach. Napoleon Bonaparte once said, "The greatest revenge is massive success." And that is a law Machiavelli himself would have admired, because nothing silences critics like the echo of your own power. Affirmation. Their disrespect builds my empire. Every slight becomes my steel. Lesson 11. The art of controlled detachment. There is a moment in every confrontation when your ego wants to fight, to prove dominance. But the truly dangerous individual doesn't need to win every battle. He only fights the wars that reshape the board. Detachment is not avoidance. It's strategic focus. When you detach, you shift from reaction to command. You're no longer inside their chaos, you're watching it from above. Robert Greene wrote, "The more you are seen and heard from, the more common you appear. So be rare, be distant, be deliberate. Your absence becomes legendary. Your composure becomes myth. And those who once disrespected you will start whispering your name, not out of hatred, but out of awe." Affirmation: I detach to dominate. My silence rewrites their perception. Lesson 12. Let reputation do the talking. Machiavelli believed that image was everything. You could be merciful or cruel, but if the people believe you are unshakable, you win without fighting. Men in general judge more by the sense of sight than by the sense of touch, he wrote. In the modern world, your reputation is your armor. Every time you act with discipline, restraint, and precision, you forge that armor stronger. When you respond to disrespect with calm clarity, people start to wonder, what else is he capable of? Let them wonder. Let your reputation walk into rooms you never enter. Because the day you stop explaining yourself, your image begins to speak louder than your voice ever could. Affirmation: my reputation commands respect long before I speak. Lesson 13. Never lower yourself to correct a fool. Fools shout to be heard. The wise stay silent to be obeyed. When someone disrespects you from a lower level, responding drags you down into the mud of mediocrity. As Nietzsche said, battle not with monsters, lest ye become a monster. Your power lies in discernment, knowing which fights deserve your mind and which deserve your silence. When a king argues with a clown, the throne becomes the stage. So stay above. Let fools reveal themselves. Your restraint exposes their chaos more than any comeback ever could. Affirmation: I do not wrestle with noise. My silence reveals their foolishness. Lesson 14. Convert pain into poise. Disrespect can sting, no matter how strong you are. But it is what you do with that sting that separates the weak from the powerful. Machiavelli lived through exile, betrayal, and humiliation. Yet out of that pain he wrote The Prince, a book that outlived every man who mocked him. Pain, when refined by intelligence, becomes poise. It becomes your quiet weapon, invisible but deadly. Don't run from the sting. Absorb it. Let it temper your composure. Let it harden your voice, steady your hands, sharpen your purpose. Affirmation: pain is my polish. Every insult makes me smoother, stronger, colder. Lesson 15. The final law. Command, don't demand. True power is never requested. It is felt wordlessly. When people disrespect you, your greatest move is not confrontation. It is transformation. You don't argue for respect. You build a life that forces others to recalibrate their tone when they address you. You command space without noise. You inspire silence without violence. You make the world remember that still waters run deep and dangerously calm. Machiavelli's final truth was that respect cannot be begged, borrowed, or stolen. It must be earned through fear, wisdom, and restraint. Affirmation: I am not here to be liked. I am here to be remembered. The Machiavellian truth. Every act of disrespect is an invitation to descend into chaos, or to rise into control. Most people accept the invitation. They argue, react, and bleed energy into the hands of their enemies. But a few, the strategic few, stay silent. They step back, observe, and move with the patience of a wolf watching prey. Those few are the ones Machiavelli wrote for. Those who seek not to be liked, but to command respect through mastery. Disrespect, in its essence, is not about words. It's about hierarchy. It's an attempt to rewrite the order, to test where you stand. And the one who responds emotionally confirms his lower position. The one who responds strategically reclaims it. Power is not noise, it's presence. Machiavelli lived in a world of betrayal, courtiers, princes, and enemies dressed as allies. He watched rulers fall not because they lacked soldiers, but because they lacked composure. Power, he discovered, isn't about aggression. It's about presence. Presence is that invisible force that fills the air when you walk into a room and say nothing. Yet everyone adjusts their posture. It's built through 1,000 quiet acts. Restraint when insulted, discipline when tested, control when challenged. That presence becomes your shield and your sword. So when someone disrespects you, you don't fight for acknowledgement. You simply let your presence remind them that you exist on a different level. Affirmation: my calm is louder than their chaos. My presence commands what my words never could. The psychology of reaction. Let's pause on something deeper. When you react instantly, what happens in your mind? A surge of cortisol, adrenaline, a primitive response to threat. The human ego interprets disrespect as danger. But here's the secret. It's not danger. It's data. That moment you're disrespected is not a signal to fight. It's a mirror reflecting your level of self-control. The emotionally weak crumble. The strong delay gratification. And the masters, they transmute emotion into power. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." The moment you become aware of that emotional surge, you are no longer its slave. You are its ruler. Affirmation: I feel everything, but I reveal nothing. My emotions serve me, not control me. Historical reflection. Machiavelli in exile. After years serving Florence, Machiavelli was betrayed, tortured, and exiled. He lost everything: his reputation, his home, his status. But instead of crumbling, he observed. He studied human nature from the outside. In exile, he wrote The Prince, not as revenge but as revelation. He saw what destroyed men: ego, impulsiveness, pride. And he saw what preserved them: patience, illusion, restraint. He realized that real power comes not from reaction, but from response. Response is planned. Response is measured. Response is surgical. And in that control, Machiavelli found freedom. The kind of freedom no enemy could touch because it was built within. Affirmation: even in exile, I am sovereign over myself. Transforming disrespect into dominion. Imagine this. You're in a room. Someone mocks you publicly. Everyone looks to see how you'll react. You have two choices. The first, to strike back, to meet aggression with aggression. That earns you noise, but no respect. The second, to look at them calmly, let silence thicken, then turn away. That earns you fear, and eventually reverence. Why? Because calm under fire is not natural. It's learned, earned, and mastered. When you respond with grace under pressure, you disrupt the primal expectation of conflict. You shift from participant to observer, from man to myth. That moment defines you far more than any comeback could. Affirmation: my restraint is not weakness. It's the mark of one who already won. The psychological undercurrent, dominance and calibration. Every human interaction hides a subtle calibration of dominance. Who leads? Who follows? Who yields? Disrespect is one of the tools the weak use to test that calibration. They throw verbal stones to see if you flinch. When you don't, when you maintain posture, tone, and calm, you communicate dominance at a level deeper than language. Robert Greene wrote, "When you show yourself to the world and display your talents, you naturally stir all kinds of resentment. You cannot spend your life worrying about the petty feelings of others. Understand, disrespect is the tax of visibility. It means you've entered the arena. And once you're in it, the only currency that matters is control. Control over words. Control over silence. Control over yourself." Affirmation: my composure is my weapon. My control decides the hierarchy. The Machiavellian countermove: reward with distance. Once you've mastered silence, there's a higher tactic: selective distance. You reward loyalty with access. You reward disrespect with absence. The moment someone disrespects you, you take away what they crave most: your attention. That absence speaks louder than confrontation. It whispers, "You have no power here." Over time, they begin to understand. To reach you, they must rise. To insult you, they must fall alone. That is psychological chess. That is dominance without words. Affirmation: I do not punish with anger. I punish with absence. The final revelation, the empire within. All these lessons lead to one truth. Power is not built in the world around you. It is built inside you. Disrespect from others is inevitable. But the reaction, that's your kingdom. The person who governs his reactions governs his destiny. The man who commands his silence commands every room he walks into. Machiavelli's darkest lesson was never about cruelty. It was about control of self, of perception, of power. He taught us that the truly dangerous individual isn't loud. He's composed, calculated, impossible to read. That is the man no one disrespects twice. Summary: the 15 laws of the unshakable mind. Never defend your worth. Silence is your power. Disrespect is a mirror, it reveals, not defines. Use strategic distance. Absence kills attention. The cold smile, control disarms chaos. Disrespect is a signal to level up. Growth provokes envy. Respond with strategy, not emotion. Timing is your ally. The power of indifference, unreachability is strength. The shadow of respect, control commands reverence. Emotional containment, mastery within, mystery without. Turn disrespect into discipline, transform pain into purpose. Controlled detachment, distance reveals dominance. Let reputation speak. Presence replaces persuasion. Never argue with fools. Silence exposes them. Convert pain into poise, refinement through fire. Command, don't demand. Power is presence, not noise. When people disrespect you, remember, they are showing you the battlefield but not forcing you to fight. The true Machiavellian never plays at the level of insult. He plays at the level of influence. He knows that the sharpest sword is stillness, and the most terrifying strength is composure. Be cold. Be calm. Be deliberate. Let the world feel the weight of your silence, and learn that you are a storm disguised as stillness.